Growth can feel like a bit daunting, a four-letter word for some advisors, but how can you excel with real growth? Joined today by Vance Bars to discuss just that. Vance, good morning.
Good morning, thanks for having me. It is a pleasure to be back.
It is a pleasure to have you back. So Vance, organic, inorganic growth, what is the secret? Where should advisors be really focused right now?
I think the mistake that most advisors make is that they think that organic growth by way of custom content, SEO, online marketing, and so forth is the way to go. And it's not necessarily true, because the inorganic world, growth via acquisition, is certainly a hot market, and it's not an either or, it is actually both.
So now for you, have you looked at both sides of this, organic and inorganic?
Very much so. At the beginning of this year, we launched an organic marketing campaign where we really leverage the internet and the top 5 problems that our clients have that they go to Google to search solutions for, and there's a funnel that those clients can come to us through. And in addition to that, we also are very much in acquisition mode by way of acquiring and potentially merging with another firm depending on fit.
That's really interesting, because when you look at inorganic growth, it can be difficult right now, right? You have to find the right cultural fit, the right combination. I mean, it looks harder than it is, right? It's not just, you don't snap your fingers and you find an acquisition, right?
Yes, having successfully done it before, which was not a simple task, because the practice that my firm acquired had clients, none of whom were local. The advisor had lived in different places, and so there was not necessarily a geographical fit, and he had switched firms twice in the last year. But all the clients stayed. It was a fantastic experience, but it ultimately is about having a great fit, not only culturally, but in terms of investment philosophy and client service.
It's so interesting to me, because sometimes people act like a deal is growth on steroids, right? It's so instant, it's instant gratification, where organic growth takes some work, right? It takes more work for you to kind of create that consistent organic growth too, that you've created already for your firm.
Very much. There is zero instant gratification when it comes to organic growth. It really takes time, and the one thing that we humans need to remember: patience.
And patience is hard, especially for this industry. If something doesn't work right away, we want to pull the plug. For you, what kind of timeline do you give it when you start something like you started earlier this year with your organic growth? What kind of timeline are you already anticipating for that growth to really begin to yield results?
6 to 24 months, depending on the platform and depending on the initiative. And what we found is that there are already some initial inbound communication requests, meeting requests, if you will, where people want to talk about solving their estate tax burden, transferring their business and or real estate to the next generation as tax efficiently as possible, and I could go on down the list. So we've seen some level of activity, but our marketing folks have assured me that it's a good 6 to 24 months before we really start to see the benefits of that campaign show up.
So one consistent theme is you got to get the right fit, but you also have to give things time in order to really cultivate and ultimately yield results, right?
Organically, yeah. And on the inorganic side, and again, I'm a huge proponent of both, because there's so much growth in this industry. Think about what we have experienced over the last 3 years. COVID, record inflation, interest rates going from 0 to 5+% in a matter of a little over a year. So there is still a record market for advisors that want to acquire despite all of those things. So for sellers, they often say that they want the best fit. Of course, a lot of that has to do with price, right? But even at price X, they're going to have multiple buyers who are willing to pay that, and it is ultimately about who is the best fit.
That's what it's all about, finding the right fit, finding the right options for you for growth. Vance, great conversation. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
For Edge TV, I'm Matt Ackerman.